ċaġa zej. Insomma, nirringrazzjakom jien jisimni Dr. Edward Duka, koordinatur ta' Science in the City u għallima wkoll l-Università ta' Malta. Ħanamel l-introduzzjoni tiegħi bil-Ingliż. Surveys li kellna sabu li ġew 10% il-festival tagħna li huma turisti wkoll ħajkun live streamed fuq Facebook u YouTube ukoll. Ovvjament in-nies li jiġu Science in the City jistgħu jparlaw bil-Malti ma' ħafna minn riċerkaturi li ħajkonna u ħananukom naqa' numri li huma vera sbieħ mis-sena li għaddiet. Jien ħanintroduċi t-tema u mbagħad ħajkonna l-President tal-Malta Chamber of Scientists, Professor Alexandra Bonnici, mbagħad ir-Rettur ta' l-Università ta' Malta, mbagħad il-Ministri Honorable Owen Bonnici u Dr. Clifton Prima, mbagħad għandna il-Katrin Baldacchino ħatitkellem fuq suġġett li ħanifokaw fuq u li huwa slavery f'Malta fil-passat u fil-modern ukoll. Mbagħad għandna l-Desġini, irrid nirringrazzja t-tim għax kellna last minute change u xorta rnexxielhom jipprintjaw l-isem tajjeb, thank you. Nista' ngħidilhom l-Ingliż għax ħafna minnhom barranin u li jiġi minn l-Esplora u Xjenza Malta. U l-Matthew Grima li jiġi mill Heritage Malta. U mela, issa I'm going to switch into English. Thank you very much for coming. I'll be introducing the team today of Fast Forward. There's a whole lineup of people. I'll start introducing them one by one as we go along. So I'll be your host for today. Behind us, we have an artwork by the Catalan artist Pep Walls, who worked with researchers at the University of Malta and also the Notarial Archives in Valletta to discover this not so nice aspect of our past, that the Knights were also slave traders. There was a slave hub in Malta and there was a slave hub in Tunisia as well. So these are important things for us to highlight, I think, as a festival, because this is what research shows. It makes things socially relevant and important to our everyday lives. Sometimes these can be very positive things. Sometimes there are things we obviously need to learn from. So to start off with the presentation, and thank you everyone for coming. It's really, really appreciated. We, as Science in the City, we lead an international network of about 8 countries. And these are all related to what Science in the City is part of, European Researchers Night. This is a celebration all around Europe, and it's amazing that over 2 million people every year, Europe-wide, meet researchers, chat to them, and all of these hands-on, interesting discussions, experiments. And in Malta, we do it as a Science and Arts festival. It's incredible that we're working together. This shows the European unity that research can give. And some other facts is the number of researchers, it was higher than I expected, to be honest. We attracted 400 or just a bit over, and also 1,000 content providers. This is from all the pre-festival events, street festival, performance festival that we did last year. This is a big increase for us, and we're very proud of it. It's Science in the City has really become something that's very important for the national calendar of Malta. And now to the video. This is, and put the sound down. This is just a reminder of everything that we did last year. And it shows you also what we're going to do this year as well. We're going to be around the Triton Fountain for our street festival. We're going to have hands-on activities and experiments, artworks, dialogues, all in the streets of Valletta. We do it in the streets to be as accessible as possible. and we want to be as community engaged as possible. So maybe we go back to the slides. Um, we Mm, the theme of this year, we came up with it. We did an open call for ideas on social media. And from that, it was the inspiration to come up with the Past Forward theme. What Past Forward refers to is looking at the past to inspire the innovations of tomorrow. There's concepts like retro innovation and other things where, okay, progress is fantastic, but sometimes we lose innovations in our past that are actually helpful for our future. Or there are lessons in the past we've forgotten that we can learn from also in the future as well. So this was, in a way, crowdsourced, and we're very happy for taking that approach. Another important point about our community engagement is we still do our performance festival in Sala San Domingo, which is a very beautiful community theater under the Saint Dominic Basilica. And for us, that's very important because it's our way of giving something back to the people of Valletta. We're not just coming, doing a festival and going away, but we're buying Wi-Fi, fans, etc. That these, through the money we give them, they buy more lights, sound, they're a volunteer organization, and they invest back to have a better passion play, to have more comedies and other plays throughout the year. So we're very happy about that. All right. And this is our TV promo. So you can put the sound, right? It's a science festival. Art, science, art, science. Oh, oh, and art, destroyer. Oh, it's very funny. It's a science and art festival. So we try and take a playful approach. Thank you for the laughs. If we go back to the slides, yeah, we're back on the. All right, brilliant. So to our actual events, this is something new. We've got this year collaboration with APS Bank, the APS Hub. These are all the events we're doing there. There's about 5. Um, and this is our way. The APS Hub is in the Slima area. This is our way of engaging with more out of just having a festival. Oops, sorry. So we're also, this is by an artist at Raquel at the University of Malta, finished her undergraduate in digital arts, and she's doing artworks related to memory. Another one is by our intern, Nine. He's doing Saving Sorna Island. So this is imagining a fictional island and what can we do to save it from climate change. Obviously, no reference to Malta here. Um, so it reminds me also of an artistic project that took the same Farfalla it was called. That took the same concept. Um, this is Catherine Balbino will talk more about this, but it's one of our quick festival events talk about modern day slavery. And then we have, all right, Dr. Joanna Bella. This is another event, and this is not happening at the APS Hub. And it's the very nice thing about it is they're actually going to use, they have ethics clearance, they're actually going to use it to collect DNA samples. So this is a way for the festival to help research happening in Malta as well. So it's very nice. And they're studying the genetic origins of the Maltese people. We were hearing a lot this year about the archaeological origins. So this is very interesting for us to happen. All right. I apologize for the slides. This is from Dr. James Carlo, another academic, another researcher at the University of Malta, and he's doing a pre-festival event, but also being at the festival to talk about his project and his themes, Paleocene. So was modeling the Mediterranean climate in the past. So it's very interesting, and the effect it was happening, happening then and now on insects and obviously then us. Without insects, we don't get our food. So that's really important. So these are some pictures from the street festival of last year. We're again going to be in Triton Fountain from 6 till 11 p.m. And here, I think this is a really lovely picture showing, families enjoying the festival. We're not just high tech with VR, we're also low tech with painting. That's very important. Okay, so it's both a high tech and low tech festival. Um, this shows, I think, the gamified, fun approach that we really push our content providers, our researchers, and we get NGOs, we get industry, we get people from government. This year, we have over 90 organizations. I think it is our highest number. And it's incredible to see, once you've developed a platform, all these people want to talk and come and interact with the people in Malta who are living here and visiting us also. So these are all really nice things, I think. So this is our map, and we will be releasing that very soon. We just have to fine tune it. This is a picture from the famous discovery there was earlier this year that our heritage is 2,000 years older than we thought, so about 7,000 BC. Um, so these are researchers from the University of Malta working with other partners. This is from the Institute of Digital Games. They'll also be at the Street Festival. This is a very important project. They're coming from abroad. It's the Big Toilet Project. Fantastic name. It's about disposable nappies. So the amount of waste from disposable nappies is incredible. So this is something we want to highlight for our environmental needs. This is from Dr. Tracy Camilleri, another academic here. And our performance festival gets people from locally and from abroad also. And this is Encyclopedia. They'll be doing songs and science. They've been here a couple of years ago and they wanted to come back. Some bars from Italy. We also get local performers, um, Germany. Thank God I can lip read. And they're doing both performances and workshops. The performances are in Sala San Domenico. The workshops are in the Dutrina, in the church around the corner. Well, the building next to the church, not the actual church. And we also have opened up a new feature of the festival, which is the tiny teeny thinkers or teeny tiny thinkers, I think. And this is going to be so people who come, families who come with young children, can stay with their children in this area while their older children watch the performances. So this will be in Sala San Domenico in the back room, and there'll be activities all time long. I'm going to finish with some key dates, but more importantly, also the team members. Um, the people missing here are Karen Fiorini and also Annalisa Schembri and Daniel Martin Farrugia is joining the team also. So next year we'll have an updated photo. And another one, which I took myself, of our fantastic team is all our interns. These are an amazing team. Um, and they're from Mexico, the UK, Estonia. I'm forgetting some countries for sure. It's France also. Um, so it's incredible that we have such an international team running this festival. I want to thank them a lot for their hard work. They've been working very hard every day behind the scenes. Um, it takes us about a year to organize this, and you can see how big the team is. So thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. And now I want to introduce Professor Alexandra Bonici, the President of the Malta Chamber of Scientists. Good to open.
Good morning, Rector, Honorable Minister Bonici, and Mr. Grima. So 25 years ago, as an uncertain 18-year-old, I just completed my A levels and I came here to University of Malta for the first time on a bright Saturday morning, and I participated in the engineering exhibition. At that time, I had no clear idea what I wanted to study, but I didn't know it before, but that day turned out to be the turning point that set me on the route to engineering and research. Back then, dissemination of research was far more limited. Today, widespread internet access gives us a greater awareness of scientific advances that is happening all around the world. But despite all this, when we have visitors in our labs, we still hear things like, I didn't know this kind of research was being carried out at the University of Malta or even here in Malta. And this is exactly why science in the city is so important. It provides a platform where groundbreaking research is shared directly with the Maltese public. It makes visible a wide range of scientific work that is happening in our islands, work that is made possible through local and international research grants. These grants are vital. They allow us to employ researchers to invest in their careers and provide the infrastructure and equipment needed to carry out high quality research. The festival at the end of September will demonstrate the fruits of this public spending, showing how research funding is transformed into knowledge, innovation, and impact for society. The Malta Chamber of Scientists is proud to support this festival, together with other dissemination activities that are carried out during the year, such as Cafe Science and our journal Scienza. Because science belongs not only in laboratories or in lecture halls, but in the public square, where ideas can inspire and inform and spark curiosity. The Chamber strongly believes that research should be proudly broadcast to all audiences, so that the benefits of knowledge are shared openly and widely. This year's theme, Fast Forward, captures the very essence of science. Research is always a bridge between what has already been discovered and use waste to protect our planet. It improves our accessibility in our daily lives, and it pushes the frontiers of knowledge, allow us to explore space and understand the universe around us. Here in Malta, the research community has grown enormously. We are now part of a large European collaboration. We attract funding from programs like Horizon Europe. Our labs and researchers are contributing not just locally, but globally. For a small island nation, this is something we should all be proud of. What makes science in the city truly special is that it is not just about engineering or medicine. It is about connections between disciplines, between science and technology and the arts and humanities. Innovation often happens at these intersections, and this festival celebrates these links. It is also about inclusivity. By taking science out of the lecture halls and into the streets, the festival makes research accessible to everyone children, families, people with disabilities, people outside academia. It sends the message that science belongs to all of us. And there is a wider perspective for Malta too. Malta is a part of a global movement of science festivals, and by hosting science in the city, we place ourselves in the European and international map of public engagement with science. What happens in our labs matters not only to our islands, but to the world. The truth is that all research has an impact. Sometimes results are not immediate because discoveries take time to mature. But every technology, every breakthrough that we benefit from today is the fruit of years, sometimes decades, of dedicated research. Events like Science in the City are more than just accountability or communication. They are also about inspiration. By making science accessible to everyone, we show our young people that research is not something distant or abstract, but a path that they too can walk, a career through which they can contribute by solving the greater challenges of our time. Before I close, I would like to make a heartfelt thanks to Dr. Duca and his entire team of Science in the City, whose untiring efforts from handling complex logistics to securing sponsorship to curating the festival program will make September's events possible. Thanks also go to the many researchers who will volunteer their time and effort and energy to bring their work to life for the public. This dedication is what makes the festival truly special. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Alexandra. Really well spoken. I really like how you emphasized inclusion and diversity. Really important for our festival. Some things I forgot to mention. We have a sensory room during our street festival for a quiet area, neurodivergent and other children families, but adults as well, to be more inclusive. And as I mentioned, the time meeting and our community engagement. Thank you so much for your kind words. Now I want to introduce Director of the University of Malta, Professor Albert Bella. Grazie ħafna.
Good morning. I know there are people in the room who may not understand the local language, but I cannot not have this short few words stated in Maltese. Għax din hija l-Università ta' Malta għal Malta. U li qegħdin nagħmlu f'din l-okkażjoni illi bdiet snin ilu, ħafna snin ilu, niftakarni kontribwixxejt fl-ewwel waħda li kienet saret ftit metri l bogħod hija ntiża propju biex mill-soċjetà tagħna inwarbu il-babaw tax-xjenza illi sfortunatament għal ħafna studenti fl-iskejjel, kultant naħseb li anki għal ħafna għalliema fl-iskejjel. Dan l-imbierek babaw inkomplu nippromovuh. Jekk inti bravu għamel ix-xjenza, jekk inti naqrinqas bravu ikkonsidra suġġetti oħra, li hija naturalment ħmerija kbira, imma għadna nemnu illi hekk huma l-affarijiet. Steve Jobs qal illi l-affarijiet l-aktar interessanti li jistgħu jiġru riżultat tar-riċerka ma joħorġux mill-kamp xjentifiku meta da jaħdem f'iżolament mill-kamp tal-umanistika. Jiġifieri l-aqwa riżultati joħorġu meta ż-żewġ kampijiet xjenza u umanistika u għalhom fil-fatt jiltaqgħu jagħmlu dik li sejħula l-intersection bejniethom. Il-moħħ wara kollox mhuwiex maqsud fil-parti xjentifika u l-parti artistika, imma huwa moħħ wieħed illi jaħdem fl-areas kollha għall-erb. Jiena nara ħafna ġmiel u intellett artistiku ċerti xogħlijiet li jagħmlu l-kimiċi fil-laboratorju. Ma nistax ngħid illi nista' narhom dejjem dawn il-konnessjonijiet imma għal min jifhem aħjar minni fil-kampijiet varji konvint illi din is-sitwazzjoni. Hija ta' dispjaċir nisma' lil min kif smajna anki ftit ġranet ilu jagħmel distinzjoni bejn l-istudji università li waslu għal degrees u ħanuża l-istess espressjoni li intużat, degrees tal-Mickey Mouse għal dan il-sinjur fuq il-medja. Ġifieri degrees li fl-opinjoni tiegħu ma jiswew xejn. Probabbilment, again, vera jimmaġina li l-inġiniera u l-mediċina u l-liġi u l-accountancy huma id-degrees mhux tal-Mickey oħrajn kollha jaqgħu f'din il-kategorija. Hija bir-rispett kollu punt di vista limitat u jkun żball jekk kif dan l-istess okkażjoni li qegħdin niċċelebraw tagħmel underlining illi x-xjenza u l-arti STEAM allura aktar mill-STEM jagħtu bħala kontribuzzjoni lill-komunità u verament lid-dinja. Hija ma nistax ma nsemmix b'dispjaċir kif ċerti potenzi kbar mondjali qegħdin iduru kontra l-inizjattiva xjentifika. Il-BBC bħalissa qiegħed jirranja programm li ħeġġixkom taraw li hija White Coats versus the White House. Illi tagħmel underlining tal-gwerra, letteralment il-gwerra li hemm bejn il-Gvern Amerikan immexxi llum mill-President li għandhom kontra xjenza. Għaliex da jidhirlu li qed jinteffqu flus fuq inizjattivi biżarri, bla sens, u qiegħed jitfa' lejla forsi lejn Ewropa tajjeb il-leadership xjentifiku li sal-lum l-Istati Uniti qiegħda f'idejhom. Anyway, ħani qafgħu nawgura ħafna Edward lill-management ta' dina l-attività ħafna suċċess u nispera li ikollna tfal żgħar għax wara kollox il-komunità kollha għandha interess tkun taf x'qed isir fix-xjenza, imma tfal aktar li forsi huma fil-mira tagħna li nġibuhom aktar qrib lejn l-inizjattivi xjentifiċi u l-inizjattivi artistiċi wkoll għaliex le. Grazzi.
Grazzi, Rettur. Vera ħadgot kif tkellimt, speċjalment fuq xjenza u arti u l-importanza tax xjenza fil-klima li għandna internazzjonali bħalissa naħseb huwa punt vera sabiħ u vera insomma mhux sabiħ x'qed jiġri speċjalment fl-Amerika, imma naħseb tajjeb nkunu nafu dawn l-affarijiet u nagħmlu sforz tagħna biex nikkompatibbu dawn l-affarijiet li qed jisiru. So now to introduce so thank you to the Director of the University of Malta to introduce Honorably Owen Bonici, the Minister for National Heritage, the Arts and Local Government. Thank you very much.
Grazie ħafna, nsellem dak kollha li qegħdin magħna dal-għodu. Verament huwa pjaċir tagħna li nkunu hawnhekk biex niċċelebraw xi ħaġa li ġib flimkien żewġ dinjiet illi dak li jkun jaħseb li huma differenti u opposti għal xulxin, l-arti u x-xjenza, però fil-verità hemm ħafna li jġibuhom flimkien u kif qalu diġà ta' qabli il-partijiet fejn jiġu flimkien joħolqu sinerġija li hija kbira u kbira ħafna. Biżżejjed ngħidu li s-settur artistiku għandu fih innifsu il-kreattività, il-ġin tal-kreattività u l-istess ħaġa s-settur tar-riċerka. Is-settur artistiku jirrikjedi wkoll speċjalizzazzjoni u passjoni l-istess is-settur tar-riċerka. U nemmnu illi d-dinja biktar arti u dinja biktar riċerka hija dinja aħjar. I would like to thank all the people who are making science in the city possible. We believe, I'm the Minister for Culture and the Arts, and of course usually I speak about the need to invest more in the art and to bring children closer to the arts because the artistic world generates creativity. But today I would like to champion the cause of the people who believe that research and science is the future, not only for this country, but for the world. And when we go home, we switch on the television and we see wars around us, we see destruction in the various channels from all over the world, unfortunately. And science and the art are the exact opposite of what war is. Science and the art represent hope for a better tomorrow. They represent the dream, they represent the aspirations. And we believe that from a small festival such as the one that you are going to promote next September, we can sow a small seed, when given the whole context, which might lead to that tree to grow in the future. There might be a child who, by attending Science in the City 2025, next month, 20 years, 25 years down the line, that same child would be the person who would, through science, change the course of that particular subject that he or she would be studying in. So I thank you so much for doing this. We are in full support of this project. U jena nixtieq nirringrazzja minn qalbi lilkom kollha li tant taħdmu b'passjoni sabiex science in this city tkun tista' tkun suċċess ieħor bħalma kienet fl-aħħar snin. Komplu sejrin hekk, aħna nemmnu kompletament fil-ħidma li bdejna. Grazzi ħafna.
Grazzi, Onorevoli Owen Bonici dejjem nieħu gost nisimgħek fuq ukoll kif tkellimt fuq il-festival tagħna. I would thank Honorevoli Owen Bonici for the kind words and the support that they've been showing, the Arts Council has been showing the festival. Currently, our performance festival is funded entirely by the Arts Council of Malta. So that is very nice for us because it's really important when science and arts meet, you come up with ideas, with innovations, which you wouldn't expect. I've been seeing it in the festival, and now I think in Malta we've really developed this culture of science and arts, which I'm very happy about. And now to introduce Honorably Dr. Clifton Prima, il-Ministru ta' Edukazzjoni, Sport, Youth, Riċerka u Innovazzjoni. So, Honorably, grazzi ħafna.
Bonġu li kulħadd. Kieku nitkellem bħala Ministru responsabbli mir-riċerka u l-innovazzjoni u l-Università kif jallim direttur hija l-bennina fejn irid jinħoloq l-erb, naħseb li d-diskors ikun twil ħafna ħafna ħafna, ġifieri jkollna sigħa sagħtejn u dejjem wieħed jibqa' jgħid u jsir. Però llum xtaqt nitkellem bħala missier. Missier ta' żewġ tfal li kull sena fil-kalendarju lejn l-aħħar ta' Settembru ikonna dak iċ-ċirku tad-dati li rridu nitlu il-Belt, kapitali tagħna, u hemmhekk naraw l-arti u x-xjenza. U nifhmu kif dawn jaffettwaw il-ħajja tagħna ta' kuljum, kif dawn huma preżenti fil-ħajja tagħna ta' kuljum. U naħseb illi Science in the City huwa proprju xhieda ta' dan kollu. Fejn wieħed jara eżebiti li mad-daqqatajn jaħseb il għaliex qegħdin fejn xulxin, imma mbagħad b'mod ċar ħafna wieħed jifhem il għaliex qegħdin hemmhekk l-arti u x-xjenza. Żewġ pilastri fil-ħajja tagħna ta' kuljum li għandhom rwol importanti li ħafna drabi sfortunatament mhux dejjem napprezzaw. Jew mhux dejjem nagħtu każ u nifhmu kemm dawn ta' kuljum jagħmlu differenza fil-ħajja tagħna. U l-fatt li għandna dawn it-tip ta' inizjattivi jgħin ħafna anke l-itfal tagħna. Il-fatt li jkollna l-uliedek illi isaqsuk numru ta' mistoqsijiet li allura hemmhekk wieħed jara li din l-attività tistimula l-ħsieb kritiku fejn l-itfal tagħna jagħmlu mistoqsijiet għaliex ċertu affarijiet huma importanti, għaliex ċertu affarijiet huma kif huma. U naħseb li dawn huma kollha punti illi tajjeb wieħed jitkellem dwarhom. Nieħu pjaċir ukoll nara illi nies minn ġewwa l-Università ta' Malta jaħdmu ma' entitajiet oħra u anke jkunu innovattivi fil-marketing. Rajtna nitbissmu meta rajt l-argument bejn l-arti u x-xjenza, għalkemm ngħidilkom il-verità qatt ma rajt ġlieda li tispiċċa b'ġelat jiġi joffrut lil xi ħadd ieħor anke jekk kien pjuttost ortodossi l-mod kif ġie joffrut il-ġelat. Però lil minn dan kollu, ir-realtà hija li Science in the City hija parti mill-kalendarju tagħna, hija xi ħaġa li tiġbed għexieren ta' eluf lejn il-belt tagħna u żgur mhux forsi jiena ma' tfal tiegħi ħankun qiegħed hemmhekk sabiex nieħu pjaċir jiena nara tfal jitgħallmu wkoll u mbagħad ovvjament wara nsaqsi l-isfal xi jridu jaħdmu bħalissa u wieħed pilot u l-oħra teacher naf li fl-aħħar ta' Settembru ħajdu li l-tnejn li huma jridu jsiru xjentisti. Insellmilkom u grazzi u ġurnata tajba grazzi.
Grazzi, Onorevoli Dr. Clifton Grima. Vera nuħu gost nara fil-festival mal-familja kollha. U nuħu gost ukoll li tiġi bħala familja, ma tiġix fil-medja, jew tiġi biex tuħu gost mal-familja tiegħek u l-esperjenza tal-festival tagħna dik vera napprezza jiena. Mela, now thank you, Dr. Honorably Clifton Grima. Now to move on to Catherine Baldacchino, who will be talking about a very important issue, this fast-forward theme, and this relationship between slavery in our past and modern-day slavery also. Thank you very much.
So good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for having me here today. My name is Catherine Baldacchino, as Dr. Duke has just introduced. I'm an independent consultant working on supporting organisations to develop and improve their responses to human trafficking, both in Malta and internationally as well. And it's a great privilege to be here this morning in order to be involved in the launch of the Science in the City Festival. I want to thank firstly the Science in the City team and all those who are involved in supporting this great event. This year, the Science in the City team have been really proactive about including the important issue of human trafficking into festival activities. And it's because of their enthusiasm that we have several events in this year's programme. It can sometimes be difficult to convince people why human trafficking matters and that it connects to almost every aspect of our life. So it's refreshing to be able to work with people who are already convinced about these things. So truly thank you to the entire team. When we think of science, we often think of laboratories, telescopes, and experiments. At least that's what I thought of. But the social sciences are the sciences of people and of society. They study how we live together, how we organize ourselves, the way that we apply values into our actions, and the way that we interpret the world and solve problems. They include subjects like sociology, anthropology, psychology, economics, politics, and history. Social sciences give us the tools to understand patterns in human behavior, to make sense of things like inequality, migration, and discrimination, and crucially, to respond to issues such as human trafficking. They remind us that science is not only about the natural world, but also about the human world. Human trafficking occurs because of a range of historical, economic, political, geographic, ethical and moral, personal and interpersonal factors, and it requires the responses of a range of professionals from seemingly unrelated fields. Fields such as criminology, social work, law enforcement, policymakers, health workers, and educators. And understanding the links and connections between these things is what helps us to understand and respond to trafficking more successfully. So to be clear, when we speak about human trafficking, we're specifically talking about the recruitment, movement, or receipt of somebody who's been deceived, forced, or who cannot consent because of certain power dynamics for the purposes of exploitation. And that exploitation might be labor, sexual, criminal exploitation, or domestic servitude. Not all forms of exploitation are trafficking or slavery. However, the common element is the exploitation that's common throughout it all. Acceptance of lower levels of exploitation, such as accepting lax labor conditions or accepting that it's okay to treat people differently based on social class or country of origin, creates an environment where more extreme forms of exploitation can occur, such as slavery and human trafficking. The theme of the festival, being passed forward, is highly relevant for the area of exploitation, slavery, and human trafficking in Malta. In this area in particular, it's critical to understand the ways that exploitation has been part of and shaped Maltese society, and ways that inequalities have been rooted in our shared history. Only by fully appreciating that can we then seek to understand and dismantle the current ways that human trafficking and exploitation exist within our communities today. Malta, like every country in the world, is not immune to exploitation and abuse of people for others' personal gain. For centuries, Malta's harbours were not only places of trade and exchange, but they were also sites where slavery and forced labour occurred. We cannot forget that Malta, under different rulers, was both shaped by and implicated in the movement of enslaved people. Slavery, exploitation, the ownership, sale, and trade of individuals, and the abuse of their labour, either on the land, in private homes, or rowing the ships, has occurred throughout Maltese history. From Roman rule, under Arab rule, and under the Knights of St. John. Captives were taken from Malta, and others were brought from different countries, were brought to Malta, or they passed through Malta en route to other locations. While slavery was formally abolished during British rule in the 1800s, exploitation never vanished. Instead, it changed its face through poverty wages, harsh labour conditions, and usury. Today, human trafficking takes on new forms, but its essence remains the same: the exploitation of people for others' personal gain. In Malta, we know that exploitation and human trafficking can impact anybody and everybody. In Maltese nationals, Europeans, third country nationals, both documented as well as undocumented migrants. It can impact all genders and all ages, from children to the elderly, and it can take many forms, from exploitation in agriculture, construction, manufacturing and fishing, hospitality and customer service, health workers and care workers, domestic work and cleaning work, as well as driving and delivery work. Detection rates in Malta are still low, but our authorities are working to improve their ability to understand, detect, and respond to these issues more effectively. So on to now the calendar of events in this festival. We'd like to share 3 key events that the Science in the City Festival have been kind enough to include in their programme. There's an event which has already been referenced, which is a collaboration between the Notarial Archives and the artist Pep Walls, called Reading Our Past to Write a Better Future. It's on Thursday, the 11th of September at the Notarial Archives in Valletta. The event explores the history of slavery in Malta using original documents from the Notarial Archive as a starting point. And the event will explore how history is shaped and how we can imagine different outcomes or futures using fragments of the past. And the outcomes of this event will be on display throughout the festival. The second event to highlight is the collaboration between the Archives and PEP, which culminated in this artwork, which stands behind us today. The artwork demonstrates different phases of Maltese history of exploitation and trafficking, and it's an interactive piece where the triptych of pieces can be moved to show different phases and different aspects of the history of modern-day slavery up until so earlier exploitation to modern-day slavery today. And finally, there's the event which I'm organising called Exploitation and Human Trafficking in Malta on Monday, the 22nd of September at the APS Hub in St. Julian's, where we'll be exploring the way human trafficking and exploitation occur in Malta today and impact most of our lives in every aspect. The events at the Archives and the APS Hub are both ticketed. They're free events, but you do require to register for your place on Eventbrite. Lastly and finally, we often say that human trafficking is hidden in plain sight. Exploitation and abuse occurs across Malta in most areas of our daily lives. It thrives on silence, on our mild acceptance of labour abuses, treating foreigners differently, and expecting people in poverty to accept any type of work conditions that they're offered. That's why acknowledging its existence here in Malta is so crucial, and speaking openly about it makes it less acceptable and empowers more people to respond and stop accepting these abuses. This is where the connection to science, and particularly social science, is so powerful. Understanding human trafficking requires us to explore things through different lenses: psychology, sociology, economics, law, and history. We need to study patterns of migration, systems of inequality, and the factors that make individuals vulnerable, the networks that allow traffickers to operate. Social science does not just describe these realities, it gives us the tools to challenge them. It builds the evidence base that helps policymakers develop effective laws, informs educators on how to raise awareness, and it guides social workers, police, and NGOs in supporting survivors. Successfully responding to human trafficking requires collaboration between these various fields, and collaboration needs to be based on this evidence and on research. So thank you once again to the Science in the City Festival team for providing this space for human trafficking awareness on the programme, and thank you to each of you for your interest in this issue.
Thank you, Catherine Baldacchino. This is a really important issue. This has touched friends of mine in Malta as well. So it's the hidden in plain sight, the aspect that we need to focus on this issue and make everyone aware of it and show that it's unacceptable to continue in our country. I want to thank the ministers because I know they have a cabinet meeting at 10. I hope you make it in time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming as well. Um, Now I want to move on to our sponsors. We're very happy, and content providers. We're very happy that Des Cheney is here to talk about the work of Esplora. Am I seeing Des? Actually, Des, yes, sorry. Blinded. Please come up. And Esplora, Scienza Malta doing some great work. These are the other pillars of science communication in Malta. Grazie ħafna. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Good morning, everyone. As Edward rightly introduced, my name is Des, and I come from Scienza Malta, particularly Esplora. For those who don't know, Esplora is Malta's only science center, and it is a place which children love. Probably parents love it even more. And it is a place that we love because it provides us with a space where we can be creative and can communicate science in our own ways. Esplora's main objective is to communicate science, but also to inspire curiosity into our visitors to ask questions about the world around us and how science can answer a lot of those questions. As a science center, Esplora is built on a very historic site, so it is impossible for us to not take a STEAM approach rather than a STEM approach. In the past years, Esplora has always mentioned STEM as a construct for learning. However, we've always used the STEAM approach where we embrace the arts in a way to offer whatever we offer in a most innovative and creative way. Our objective this year, as always, we take on board the theme of Science in the City, and we try to tailor make our program specifically for Science in the City to reflect the main theme. And this year, we've decided to name our program Science Through Time. And just to introduce a little bit what our program is going to offer. We're going to offer our main science show in Sala San Domingo, which is called Dino Doom, and it is exploring the theory of evolution and how our world has evolved in a way and the impact it had on several species, particularly dinosaurs. Moving on from that, we offer a vast program that targets all kinds of visitors to Science in the City, starting from toddlers and moving on to adults. It's a mixture of activities, both hands-on and quite detailed when it comes to discussion and science communication. And it is, I'm sure that everyone will find something that is relevant to their needs and to their interests as well. So, as always, I would like to thank Dr. Duca and the team of Science in the City for giving us another opportunity to be part of this festival. I thank my colleagues back at Esplora that every year we work very hard to create a very interesting program for everyone at Science in the City, and I look forward for next month for the festival and wishing all the best to all the team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Des. It's always a pleasure working with Esplora. And I'm really happy that you're taking this officially all steam ahead to you with that one. And without our sponsors, really, we wouldn't be able to run this festival. So, Matthew Grima from Heritage Malta, the manager of the diagnostic laboratories there. Earlier this year, he toured, he did a tour for me of their labs, and they really have some high-tech equipment there that they're using to understand the story, the identity of Maltese people through our history. Matthew?
Good morning, everyone. It's a big pleasure of mine to be here and to speak about our approach this year. First of all, Heritage Malta is the national agency for cultural heritage, responsible for making the national collection accessible to visitors as well as researchers. And as part of our huge challenge to preserve the national collection, which encompasses more than 1 million objects and sites within it, there are conservation restoration labs as well as a scientific department that I lead. And through this, we offer different solutions for scientific analysis that assist preservation, so treatment of objects, but also the historical research of our great legacy as a state. And there's so much we can unravel even more. I'd say there's much more that we do not know rather than what we do know. And this year, Fast Forward resonates nicely, perfectly actually, with what we do, because it's been our mission to guarantee a future to our past. So our legacy, without museums, accessibility, all the marketing we do, research, etc., will not have a future. So the scientific domain plays a big role in that regard. Therefore, that is why this year we are proud sponsors, present here at the press conference, but also hosting next Saturday a pre-festival workshop that will delve into the scientific domain. And as the rector said, there's this big white elephant in every room with people being scared of science. And sometimes I believe that the approaches need to be different. And that's what we're trying to do this year in teaching people. For example, people are scared once they see a scientific system. But that's why we're presenting the analogy, even our eye is a scientific system. It detects. Without it, we do not see. And this is how we can attract children towards science, I believe. This year at the festival, aside from ourselves, there will also be the Underwater Cultural Heritage Unit, together with a conservator at work working on a painting, a mock, because we can't take it outside like that, and as well as the customer relations team that can hand out information about the various facets of Heritage Malta. And there are 2 pillars that we will be celebrating. The 2 things without which a scientist wouldn't work within the cultural heritage domain: the technologies and the material. But how can we interlink them? So a lot of people hear about X-rays in the medical field. How much do we teach about X-rays in the cultural heritage field? We use them daily. And that's what I basically said before. So a complex diagram that basically fits all the signals on your left, the material in the middle, and the detectors on the right. And just how I can see color, whereby visible light is reflecting off materials and being detected by my eye, our senses, once upon a time, someone decided that they're not enough to identify materials. And that's why technology started being developed to aid the human being to detect and learn more. So basically, there are so many different systems that are applied within the cultural heritage domain. And we do apply them to date, to look at past materials versus the modern media, fakes and forgeries, as well as the provenance of materials. And it is with that that we can pitch more towards our cultural heritage legacy. And giving you some examples, a taster of what's to come, so to speak, which is directly from our workload. Over there, you see a decolorized glass bottle that was from the 18th century. A researcher wanted us to analyze it. From the composition, we shipped him off to Bohemia, the Czech Republic. He found that the coat of arms
belonged to a family who had 5 members back in Malta as Knights of the Order of St. John. And from the coat of arms, he managed to find his tomb in St. John's Co Cathedral. So it started off from scientific analysis, and quite rare it is within cultural heritage that we manage to pinpoint ownership of an object, and that's thanks to the insignia. Here you see a knight in armor by Domenico Robusti, the son of Tintoretto, the famous Venetian artist. And during conservation restoration work, they noticed that around the neck, the area on the millimetric scale was quite rough. So they thought that there's something underneath. We took an X-ray, and what you see there is a lovely Venetian color hidden underneath. So someone took the trouble of covering it later on by what you see on the painting. And that strengthens, for example, the provenance of the item, because whilst we have an attribution to an artist, that was interpreted stylistically as Venetian and of his period. So once again, it's respecting the cultural heritage ethics of an object, and without removing the top layer, we can image what's underneath. This is our most recent find, and it's quite funny in a way, because conservators came in with that late Knights period ecclesiastical lamp from a church, which is part of the national collection. And upon doing some non-invasive analysis, whilst we've got all that shiny silver, we found the majority of the composition being copper. Now, that could be normal, having an alloy. However, back then, that should have been only silver. And elevating a 1 millimeter sized sample, which you see on the right, you can see that there is in the middle a yellow patch that's shiny. That is the copper surrounded by the thin layer of silver. So basically, we know that someone duped the Knights in the past. So when that was manufactured, someone dared to defy the order in presenting either a falsified product as opposed to what they were promised. So it's crime of the ancient world, so to speak. And this was an interesting project as well, whereby by studying isotopes, we myth-busted the old Zaytun bone collection from St. Gregory's Church. So there's that large collection of bone that people within Zaytun tagged to the Ottoman attack of the 17th century. So people say that within the 60s they saw them with swords and clothing, and a lot of fables through the past 60 years or so. And eventually the NGO, which is Zaytun, contacted us to start some scientific diagnostics. Osteologists from the Superintendence of Cultural Heritage studied the bone, we did the science. And what clearly came out of it was that the carbon dates of just 7 individuals from 80 there are span 300 years. They start off predating the Knights, so already that's not related to the siege period, but rather we're talking early 15th century and going to the 18th century. And that is evidence of an ossuary find that was mysteriously, for some reason, placed high above in a secret passage of the church. We do think that is during an expansion of the cemetery, whereby a noble family didn't want to have their lineage mixed with commoners. So they hid them up there. Then for some reason, the siege came about, probably, and joking, this is much later. So we think it's late 17th, 18th century that this happened. But then, as to what Catherine mentioned, you do see this dietary plot. We're plotting nitrogen 15 on the y-axis, the vertical one, and carbon 13 on the horizontal x one. And you do see 2 clusters. There's a cluster of dots, scatter points, and 1 long point further towards the left. That's the diet of 7 individuals. The 6 clustering are Maltese. That single one is sub-Saharan, African. And in fact, a researcher
went to research the church ledgers in Zaytun and found that within that period there were slaves brought to serve noble families. But something fantastic about that story is that they buried them with their own dead. So it gives us a sort of dynamic as to we've got slavery, but then there's the respect that sort of is within it as well. Because you wouldn't imagine that noble people would bury the peasants with them, so to speak. But that happened. These are examples about the science that we do and what the general public can learn about much more. And the next point is for, sadly, Professor Timmy Gambin couldn't be here today from University Archaeology Department, heading also Heritage Malta's Underwater Culture Heritage Unit. Due to personal matter, however, I'll show you a video of what they do to conclude. So with VR sets, they explore underwater finds or showcase to the public. And that's it. So for any further information, we encourage everyone to visit Science in the City, such a fantastic event. Most especially on Saturday, we do have a pre-festival workshop with more silly, fantastic stories from the past. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for showing also the human side behind science, the stories. As we said, we have our first event this Saturday. We're also launching the APS Hub tomorrow evening at 6:30. So if, don't all come because we don't have space, but please some of you come. And just to note, for today, so for this Saturday, this is the official launch of the festival. We already have your event almost fully booked, which is over 100, which is great. And some events have already been booked, some pre-festival events. So that's really fantastic for us that before we've even launched, we've even gotten this feedback from our audience. Thank you everyone here. There's some cake, fruit, coffee, tea. The cake is homemade by our team. So please have a bite because it's really nice. It's really special for us that you've come and let's have a chat. Let's celebrate Science in Darts together, and it's been a lovely launch. Thank you everyone for